Hello, everybody.
Hi, hi, hi. Guess who this is?
It's your girls for another episode of
Darling Bish Hour. We're back. We're back. Melissa and Amy are here. And boy, oh boy, are we going to dig deep. Melissa has her golden shovel out to dig therapeutically into this. And, I've got my gilded shovel, as it were. And I'm going to dig around and see what I can see. We're going to talk about Summer House.
Yeah, we're going to mention it all. We're going to talk about the second part of the Summer House reunion, which I had so many notes on that I honestly initially had like 30 slides. And I'm like, this is a class. This is too many slides. So I
had to join Melissa at the Learning Annex this Saturday from 12 to 6 to talk about part 2 of reunion. Summer House reunion.
It was that ridiculous. So what I said on my Instagram was I had to pare it down to, I still think I had like 13 slides. And I said, if you want to hear us talk about all of it, we're podcasting about it. And so here we are to talk about all of the insane pieces. And Amy, I'm so glad you're here to do this because there were some really funny moments. And then, there was like a little bit of light in the dark for a hot second.
Kyle on his tippies. I mean, Lindsay had so many hilarious. She is killing me this reunion. I've fallen in love with Lindsay all over again, especially in light of she and Carl's, essentially their peacemaking. It's incredible.
Yeah. It was really sweet to me to see because one thing that we forgot through that horrendous season last year of their breakup is that Lindsay and Carl have a really sweet friendship, love, mutual respect, and chemistry. And here's the funny thing. So Carl had KJ on his podcast, and one of the things that he talked about was the internet noticing how he and Lindsay are having, like, they have this chemistry. And Carl said even his mother said, wait a second, are you guys thinking of getting back together?
Oh my God. I can't handle another awkward moment between those two.
I know, but Carl was like, no, he's like, I understand what the internet sees. I understand what people are seeing. They do have this sweet kinship. It was just nice to see this reunion because it was filled with so much
I've wondered it
crap.
Too. So he said no.
He said no.
Well, maybe not now. Maybe later. I don't know. But no, I don't think they're meant to be together, but they are meant to have this type of chemistry and to have a friendship, which I'm glad that they're able to get a handle on now. And by the way, when Amanda had an issue with Lindsay and Carl basically dunking in on, monetizing on that. And when she said, I would never do that to you, there was not 1 centimeter of room for that to be accepted in that room on any level, no matter if she even had remotely of a 10% point. There was no room for that to be accepted, including myself. I was like, oh, please stop right now. You should be so lucky that someone is actually trying to make light of this. And by the way, it wasn't Kyle that was doing it, although actually he was through Loverboy. I take that back. He was monetizing the hell out of it. His Loverboy is booming now because of this. So,
which, listen, here's the honest thing. I think it was so funny when Amanda said that, because to me, what I'm seeing with Amanda is a lot of jealousy, right? That she is now the villain and other people are getting opportunities based on what's going on. Which, listen, I understand. I'm sure that doesn't feel good. But when Sierra was like, oh, so you wouldn't monetize, but you would fuck your best friend's ex? Cool. And I was like, listen, Sierra, no lies detected. One thing I really want to say out the gate is that Nick Viall, I'm just going to call him Vile because he is vile, said that Mia and Sierra were being aggressive. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that. He said that on his podcast?
Yes. He said that Sierra and Mia were being aggressive. And I'm like, so...
In what context? In this reunion, they're being aggressive by FaceTiming and talking about how West has played them both?
No, this was even before the second part of the reunion. I think it was after the first part.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about Mia on the cast of Summer House, not Mia, the one he was in an exclusive relationship with. Gotcha.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Because you're right. There are those confusing pieces. But I just want to say that like Sierra has every right. The things that she's saying, by the way, they sound harsh, but they are spot on.
Yeah.
And they're not harsh. And like my one main point is that Amanda's mental health matters and she deserves to be attended to, but not by Sierra anymore. Amanda lost that privilege. And Sierra doesn't owe her anything. So it's just like a friendly reminder about how women of color are painted with this aggressive brush when they're
I can't believe he said that. I honestly...
You can't really... I can.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, to even like to not be that aware, to have such a huge podcast platform that he would say something like that. And has he apologized for this? Is this something that we know?
Amy, no, girl.
Okay,
no, honey. Nick, he doesn't know apologies. I don't know her. That's what Nick says. Apologies, I don't know her. But listen, mediocre men love to take a platform and say the craziest things and then have no consequences. It's just, it's amazing to me. But anyway.
By the way, in terms of that, I have felt like part 1 and part 2, at least at this point, unless people are throwing things at Amanda, I think they're all handling it quite well. And
agreed.
They're communicating their feelings, their points, their questions extremely on point. And the anger from other cast members, I don't feel is out of place. So when you take Mia, for example, when she's asking pointed questions, these are questions that everybody has that someone needs to ask other than Sierra, because she's not going to have the mental capacity to ask what, where, when, how, time, place, timeline, and also, Amanda, why did you do this? These types of things. So I think that they're doing a great job. And then Lindsay coming in and handing West his ass every few minutes, and then also having comedic relief. The fact that Kyle can hold it together so much is unbelievable. And then we've got very emotionally intelligent men on the other side, like Jesse and KJ and Carl, who are all in tears at different times, who are empathetic, who are compassionate in every which way. So I applaud everybody. Except for West and Amanda, who are not doing a good job.
No, it's like, and what's frustrating the cast and why you're right that they're actually doing a great job is because Amanda and West are peeing on our leg and telling us that it's raining. And they're essentially like saying they're accountable while doing the exact opposite of what true accountability is. And another thing that Carl said on his podcast was he was sitting next to Amanda and West, and he's like, I could not feel any emotion from them. And like Carl, KJ, Jesse, Kyle, they're all very sensitive souls, right?
Yeah, they are.
You could see with those men, the literal pain on their faces. Like Jesse, I swear I teared up a few times because Kyle and Jesse, they would make these faces like they were physically in pain. And I just think it's a really great reminder that these people are showing no empathy, which is the only thing psychologically that really can't be fixed. Like empathy, I know, it's like empathy kind of you either have it or you don't. And now, of course, there are levels, right? Like people like you and I, we probably, I would argue, have too much empathy. I think there was a mistake at the factory when I was being made, and I just got all of it. Like my family got none of it, and they're like, this child will have all of it, and her family will have none of it. And I think that's what KJ is reacting to when you grow up with parents who lack empathy and have really scary characteristics. Your nervous system recognizes that. And I believe that KJ, when he was telling his story about, he talked to Wes and he was like, I grew up, my dad was a pathological liar and a cheater, and I watched him destroy our family. And that's why KJ has a lot of the trauma that he has. And he can see it now in West. He can recognize that in West. And so I think that this cannot be overstated enough that this is why this is a big deal, because this was a family of people who were lied to, who were deceived, and who are sitting in front of people who they thought were their friends, and they just don't seem to care.
I also enjoyed how KJ made a point to say, you also had that conversation, that very deep and meaningful conversation in the Hamptons out to dinner about race. And you said a lot of the things that were important to them, to then have Sierra be treated in this way when you said what you said is also very disturbing. And I thought it was really a poignant moment to touch on. I know that we as like fans have touched on that, and we all could see Sierra very emotional with KJ mentioning that. And boy, does he do a great job with speaking on these matters, because it seems like if KJ or Mia doesn't point this out, it's, to leave it
Who's
to
going
like,
to?
Right. I mean, I think that it's great if, someone who is Caucasian says it, but it doesn't have enough weight. When you hear it from Mia or KJ, it really hits you. It hits you, and it's more profound, and you understand it better. And I'm just glad he spoke on it.
To me, KJ is like the MVP because he is managing a lot of stuff. And I think, watching this, I understood what led to his psychiatric hospitalization. Like, I understood how this all started to happen because
Oh, really?
yes, because
How so?
I talked about on my last podcast what borderline personality disorder is and how it's very mischaracterized and misjudged, weaponized a lot of the time. So what happened was KJ, his father figure growing up, was very absent. He would make a lot of promises and then not follow through. He would do a lot of things to harm KJ and his mother in a lot of different ways. So KJ explained that he has been having hard times trusting males in relationships, right? Which is totally, totally understandable.
It's interesting that West and him connected, because isn't it true that like you kind of end up sort of gravitating towards
out
similar people
Yes.
in toxic ways? So that is incredibly interesting to me. And then for him to recognize that so clearly right now is really a big deal.
Well, I think that's because he went to treatment. And not only did he go to treatment, he was psychiatrically hospitalized. And then he went to a recovery center that he got a scholarship based on Carl. So Carl works with this recovery center. I think it's just called Recovery. And KJ was talking about how this was on Carl's podcast, how he was homeless after the show. He didn't have anywhere to live. He
Who, KJ?
Yeah. He was staying with Sierra. He was staying with Mia. And
Oh
then
my God.
when all of this stuff started to happen, it impacted KJ so much because here he is, a very vulnerable first-year person on the show, right? He went from a regular person to a celebrity overnight. And then he has this group of guys who they literally felt like brothers. And now he's experiencing that same trauma with West, where West, he realized like West was lying to his face. West was, doing all of these things, and he clearly doesn't care. And it triggered KJ's stuff. It triggered all of his stuff, which in reality ended up being a blessing in disguise, meaning like his rock bottom to help him. So it's like this Summer House issue triggered his stuff that hasn't popped up since high school.
Whoa. So that the timeline actually lines up with him going into a mental health facility after he found out about West and Amanda?
I don't think it was after he found out because he said it was in the fall. But what he was saying is that when he left Summer House, like, do you remember the last episode? KJ was like sleeping a lot. He was sleeping through things, and Dara was just like, he's really tired. So his depression had started to come back because his life was in this uncertain place, and Summer House was a great distraction. They compared it to like a NASA mission where like you're in this spaceship of Summer House, and then you come back down to Earth and you go back to your life. And KJ was like, well, I don't know what my life is. I don't know, because borderline personality disorder features a lot of like self-distorted views and not understanding like who we are in relation to ourselves, others, and the world. And so what I'm saying is a lot of those unresolved issues were triggered by that alone. And then this stuff with West really threw him for a loop because it triggered a lot of his childhood stuff. So I say that because, again, psychologically, to me, it was so interesting to start putting these puzzle pieces together about how KJ was so impacted. But really, why everyone is so upset about this is because you see everyone on that cast just like so upset and so betrayed. And that is very real.
Wow. I did not realize that about KJ. That is so fascinating. Did he speak on why he didn't have anywhere to live? I mean, what happened? Like, where was he living before the show? And how was he living in New York City?
He didn't get into all the details. Either that, I was listening to it on hyperspeed too, because I was frantically trying to listen before we podcasted. So there were definitely some details that either I missed or he didn't give. But what I learned is that Mia and Sierra were the ones who were like, you need to go to the hospital. And KJ had trauma from being hospitalized before because as a teenager, when he was acting out from self-injurious behavior, which and this is a trigger warning, he admitted to cutting, which is his form of self-injurious behavior. He said the last time he had a crisis like this was in high school. His mom had to hospitalize him and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed because it was like the best thing for him. But a lot of times treatment centers, they come with a lot of stuff that can also create a lot of trauma and bad experiences, unfortunately. And so this time, KJ was talking to his mother about Mia and Sierra think that I should go in. And his mother was like, well, I'm afraid that this will trigger your trauma. And Mia and Sierra were basically like, no, he has to go. And he did.
Gosh, wow.
So I share all this because Mia, Sierra, and KJ are literally a family unit. They really are. So seeing KJ stand up for Sierra, seeing him represent being one of the few men of color on the show, period, historically, right? I love seeing them really see each other and have each other's back because that's the problem with West and Amanda. Sierra said, you satiated me, which I was like, ooh, that's such a good word. You satiated me by using therapy language, but you didn't see me at all. And she's right, because it's proven in this reunion. And one thing I wanted to point out is that at the end, when West and Amanda were like processing it, which was so weird, and we can talk about that in a moment, one thing that West said, which shows me at this point that he doesn't get it at all, is he told Amanda, Sierra just wants to get under your skin.
Oh, yeah. That was chilling.
It was chilling because I'm like, tell me you don't get it without telling me that you don't get it. Like, that is a crazy thing to say about this woman after what you two have done. You think that's what this is? She's devastated. She's like, it just that moment, I was like, oh, Wes' brain is different. His brain is just different.
At least it's active. I was concerned that it wasn't quite registering because I did find that moment when they're together alone and actually speaking on what's happening, because that's all we want to see. We really want to see how they're actually communicating about this because they're not showing us and they're certainly not telling us what they have talked about. It's all a secret. But for him to say, just be calm, apologize. And I thought, well, are you, so you're just telling her to do that? Like, you're not telling yourself to do that. We haven't heard much from you at all. And she immediately turned on herself and went inward and was like, I can do better. So now she's taking her cues from him. Like, he is steering the ship, if you will.
Yeah.
And she has let him just completely take over her, just like she let Kyle take over her.
Right. And that's just what I was going to say is she jumped ship from Kyle to West.
Yeah.
And what I said last week is that Amanda has been in the passenger side of her life forever. I believe that she has extremely low self-esteem, very, very significant insecurity. I believe she has a distorted sense of self. I've noticed a couple of red flags with her behavior around food and her body and things like that. And so what I think is happening is Amanda is a victim of her own life, not understanding how she gives away her autonomy to men. So she got tired of what Kyle was doing with her autonomy. So she manipulated the cast into doing her dirty work and then just jumped ship to now West is telling her what to do. And it's like, if West is your guide, you in danger, girl.
Yeah.
You are in real danger.
I get giving up your autonomy. I've done that. I did that when I was young, and it lasted for such a long time. And I was so fortunate to gain it back because many people don't. It's like having a second chance of life because it is so vastly different from the years that you live not having your own persona, and just subletting your soul to somebody. And you don't really even know who you are anymore because that person is the dictator of your life and you're in pain and you know it. And yet you let them do that. It is a level of self-harm in many ways because you become addicted to that feeling of misery and you need to be controlled. And then the emotional lows that you experience, you're not used to having like any real peaceful stability. So it's too hard to like know that even exists to like jump to another ship that is like the peace ship.
Right. That's so well said, Amy, because what happens is humans will always recreate unhealthy relational dynamics that we aren't aware of. If we are not aware of it, how on earth could we change it? And so what happens is when we live subconsciously, and you're right, I've done that in my life too, in my earlier dating relationships. This is something many people do.
Yeah.
And it's no shade. Trauma isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility to fix. And if we don't work on it or understand it at the very least, humans will recreate these unhealthy patterns.
Yeah.
And because Amanda didn't give herself any time between these two relationships, she is repeating the same patterns, frankly, in worse, more concerning ways. Because Kyle has his stuff, right? He certainly, they didn't have a good marriage. I don't think he was a good husband, but Kyle really cares about Amanda. He has empathy and understanding about the things that are going on. Whereas West does not have any of that. And this is what happens. Not only did she make a similar choice, she made a worse choice.
Yeah. I think that Kyle has empathy on the back end. And I'm not ready to like wave my Kyle flag because...
Oh, certainly. Yes.
Okay. I know. I'm sure you agree. But I honestly feel like so much of what we're seeing from Kyle is relief that his business is doing well. I swear to God. Like, because he was never going to give her what she kept asking for. And so I just want to remind everybody that like we got here because of what he was doing. And that doesn't mean that she is obviously, not responsible for the choices that she made. She stayed. Like, why are you staying in this situation? And I know it gets more complicated because of reality television and you're looking at the like Ariana Sandoval situation. And I feel like those two, when you look at them both, they have very similar structures in that they're both kind of trapped in this brand and this thing. And then they can't really make too big of swings publicly because they got to lock it down, which is why they end up doing this stuff in secret. So, because they need to get out in some sort of way. And where are they going to go? They can't go to public places. They have to go within and find the perfect secret person to do that, to like express themselves from the unhappiness of what their partner isn't giving them instead of making good choices, Melissa. But Kyle, from the jump, was cheating on her, before they got married. She chose to like continue on. She was young, didn't understand probably, and made that choice. But here we are, and it's the $1 million question that comes up in this reunion, which is, did he cheat on her when they were married? And so that's what I've been waiting to hear the answer to. I don't know if Kyle is fully like being honest with us here. That's what I'm a little worried about. Sure. What are your thoughts?
I mean, your point is super valid in that like the audience is so fickle, right? So first Amanda was like the savior and Kyle was the villain, and now it's totally flip-flopped. And the reality lies that all parties, when a relationship ruptures beyond repair, the people involved are both responsible. And it may not be 50-50, but both of them played a role. And what I felt was interesting is that Kyle did seem to get defensive, but I think I understand the reason why. So Amanda's on the couch trying to say, well, you cheated and you did this and you did that, to distract from her own stuff that she should be accountable for. So my perception is some of Kyle's defensiveness and like parsing out semantics with like, was I inappropriate? Yes. Did I have an affair? No. Did I sleep with someone? No. Right? It's all too little too late. But I think that his frustration is because it's like, well, who cares? You may have had an emotional affair. So like Kyle's acting out behavior was a lot louder and messier and like in your face, but Amanda's is quieter. It's quietly manipulative. It's more secretive. It's more underhanded. And I think that's what's making Kyle wacky in terms of like his anger and his defensiveness, because he said the one thing he said on the reunion that I was like, bro, just proved what I've been saying for months. He goes, I feel you were having everyone in the house do your bidding while I was looking like the bad guy. And now Kyle was the bad guy because of his insane behaviors. Like when you act that way,
always drunk.
Yeah. When you act that way,
when you're in that.
when you're like super intoxicated and just like having king baby tantrums, you're always going to be the bad guy, no matter what someone else is doing. But he does have points that with West and Amanda, there's a lot of secrecy. And again, for me, these are red flags because secrets keep us sick. Like within the addiction recovery milieu, one thing that's completely understood is how dangerous secrecy can be in terms of maintaining these like really unhealthy dynamics. So I think West and Amanda, their wounds match each other so well.
Sierra said it. Yeah.
Actually scary. Yeah.
That's wild to hear you say that. I mean, as just a pedestrian over here in therapy, I think that I see that. I think a lot of people see that. Sierra clearly sees it. She has a different way of explaining it, which was like a burn city, but it completely makes sense. And I think people on the reunion even touched on it this time. And while we were watching this season, it made so much sense. Amanda is perfect for West because she's married. So he doesn't need to really commit. It's like a perfect situation. And then West is a perfect fit for Amanda because he's a great distraction. He's around. No one will ever know. Why would I do this in plain sight? And I'm completely safe because I'm married. And so why would I can flirt as hard and go as far as I want, and it's totally fine because I'm married.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like it's the lure of the forbidden fruit.
Yeah. And what do they have left now, Melissa? Because now that's gone.
Nothing.
So what is going to happen? Because like the way that they communicate now, it's like they've been together for 8 years. The way that she's like, don't eat that right now. We're taking a break. And don't do that with your mouth. It's like the bickering has begun.
Yeah. And did you catch? He told her, try not to be so snippy. And I thought, sir.
I did not catch that. How did I not catch that? Where was that? In the dressing room?
So at the end, when they're in the dressing room, and they're processing, and West is telling her how to manipulate people essentially by like, well, just pretend to apologize and be calm, but you don't actually have to have any of those pesky feelings. Like that was such a red flag for me.
Wow, right.
Yeah. But then when he's telling her
to apologize and
and to not be snippy. No, when he says don't be snippy, she put the blanket like over her and she said, I can do better.
Do better. Okay. So I heard her do that. I did not hear him say, try not to be snippy. Don't be snippy. Oh, okay, Auntie Merle. The hell is wrong with you?
I was like, don't be snippy. she is being appropriately eviscerated, right? But it's like, don't be snippy. That's your advice to her. And then the other piece of advice he had for her, which was such red flags, when she left the first time and Lindsay was like, go after your woman.
God.
I clap for Mother Hubbard in that moment. Claps.
West, be a man and go get your girl. It was.
But do you know what was
classic.
crazy? So West is only concerned with impression management, which impression management is like, it's a term that can exist on a spectrum from unproblematic to pathological, like indicative of a pathological behavior. So there's a huge swing, but impression management is like being concerned with how you are being perceived. So West is really only concerned. He doesn't care about how people feel. He doesn't care about how he's made them feel. He only cares about how he's being perceived. Case in point, when Lindsay said, go after your girl, West said, well, why? So then you guys could just eviscerate me for leaving too? And I was like,
right.
Bro, are you 12? Like, what are you talking about? But that told me he doesn't care about Amanda or anyone. He just cares about managing his impressions of himself.
That's right. Oh, he doesn't care one bit.
He can continue to get laid. Right.
Yeah. He had the fact that he didn't go after her is we shouldn't be surprised, but that we got to see that happen. I wondered if she would walk off, what was going to happen. And exactly what I anticipated did, which is that he sat there like a bump on a log and probably realized that he missed his small window of getting up because so she gets up and leaves. If he doesn't get up and leave within about 10 seconds, he looks like already an idiot. So now the 10 seconds is gone. Now it's awkward. So he has enough time to formulate, well, someone's going to say something to me why I left because it's too late now to leave. And someone's going to say something to me to leave. So if someone says something, I'll just flip it back on them. That's his quick thinking to massage how to control people and to project by saying like, oh, well, then you're just going to get mad at me. So it's like, oh, well, nice try. It didn't work.
No, but what was so fascinating is that Kyle, when he said, go after her to make sure she's okay.
Yeah.
And then he did.
Yeah.
And I felt in that moment, that is why this is all like a shroom-induced fever dream, because her current husband, because they haven't even started the process of divorce. They're not even legally separated at this reunion. But what is so crazy to me is in the city. Well, okay, hold on. Before I go to that piece, let me put a pin in that. So
okay.
West
I know what you're saying, though. It's wild.
West goes to check in on Amanda, and he literally, it's like he went to the principal's office because he was told to do it. He came in and he was
that
just
is the
like,
perfect way to say it. Yeah.
Right? Where it's like, well, your husband told me I need to come check on you. So how are you? Like so lacking of care and concern. And then his advice to Amanda again was, if you have to cry on stage, cry on stage.
Yeah.
Impression management.
Wow.
101.
Wow.
Yeah. It was gross. It was gross to watch. But in the city,
yeah.
Going back to that, here's why this show is proving Amanda and West wrong. Because on this episode of In the City, Sierra, West, and Amanda meet together. They hold hands. They talk about how they're the sweetest little trio of best friends. And Amanda tells West and Sierra that she's moving out, right? West puts his arm, I took a picture of it because it's so telling. He puts his arm on Amanda's shoulder and he says, oh, great. Are you proud? Are you happy? Like just really gave himself away. But what she's telling Kyle is that she's moving out. She signed a year lease without telling Kyle.
No, he doesn't tell Kyle anything. Not about the statement to Bravo. Not about signing a year lease. No, sir.
Secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. That is... I know. It's true, though. And so I think
secrets are no fun. secrets hurt someone, West and Amanda.
I know. I want to hear Lindsay say that. I really do. But the point is she is on In the City trying to tell Kyle, I'm moving out. I'm signing a year lease, even though I told you we were going to do month to month. But I promise this is so we can stay together, right?
We're not separating. No, we're not.
Right.
This isn't us separating. I'm just going to be like here for a year.
Yeah. And it's like, again, that's where she's like peeing on our leg and telling us it's raining. It's like, if that's not a legal separation, I don't know what is. But she can't have it all ways. Like she's claiming that she did nothing wrong and there wasn't an emotional affair. But it's like, you're lying to everyone about everything. And that is the problem.
Yeah.
There was a way where she could have done this and come out probably with like this archangel storyline or whatever. But she didn't have the capability to do it because she does not know how to communicate. Like her and Kyle, do you remember when he said that they used the show for communication?
Yeah. Well, that didn't take much convincing. I mean, that was pretty clear that they didn't talk for the entire time or worked out anything for when they weren't on the show. And then they would come on the show and they're like, yeah, so did you want to get into couples therapy? And I'm like, you fucking guys have been talking about this for 2 summers.
Yeah.
Someone's got to pull the trigger here.
Well, but that explains how it was happening because they weren't doing any work or talking outside of the show.
No.
And they would save it for the show. And I wanted to make an immediate meme that was like, if I send you this, it means you need to go to therapy immediately. Because when Summer House is like your form of therapy, well, no wonder why this is crashing and burning in such a spectacular manner. Because when the show was your thing, like that's insane.
It almost proves to me that the show in itself was the reason why they didn't get divorced sooner. 100%. Like now I know 100%. For sure. I mean, not that, I guess I should have known that, but once they have a summer, they're on that high. They've done a job. They do all this press. You know, that takes them well into the year of like finally shooting it, coming down from that, then getting back up to do the press for the premiere and everything. So it's this cyclical thing to where there's not a lot of time for them to bottom out for a long actual span of time for them to really make a big, swift move out, which I think is why Amanda just went, well, I'll just pop over here. Let me mention this. It sounded like in this part 2 that one of the reasons why at least she was saying it's one of the reasons why she was hesitant to tell Sierra what was going on with she and West is because she was embarrassed that she was seeing someone or had feelings for someone and kissed someone that was seeing someone else. And that was the thing that stopped her from really, truly being honest with Sierra. And when Sierra said, yeah, that is embarrassing, that's the thing that put her over, that she looks like a fool.
You're exactly right. Yeah,
so,
that's exactly right.
So what I'm asking, Amanda, is it that you would have told Sierra if West wasn't dating anyone else? Is that what you're saying?
Right, because I think the most telling part of those statements, because that's the thing, Amanda and West tell on themselves constantly if you know what to look for. The fact that that's why she was embarrassed to tell Sierra, not because of Sierra's feelings or not because of how it would make Sierra feel.
Right.
That is
the focus was more on that. Yeah. The focus was way more on that.
Was how am I going to be perceived? Which again is why she and West are perfect for each other.
Can you explain to me that part last reunion when Sierra said the thing about like, yeah, Amanda's perfect for West because she's mute and West needs somebody where it's going to spotlight on him the whole time. And she looked up and like did this weird thing with her tongue and was like holding back tears. But it just was so odd to me because I don't know, why would you cry like that? I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. It looked like a narcissistic. Why. Was it a showy thing? What was it?
No, because here's the thing. People who have narcissistic traits and tendencies, which by the way is all of us, myself included, but people who have more, the mischaracterization is that they don't have feelings. They do. They just have feelings about themselves over other people. So I believe Amanda was hurt because Sierra was right. It was a harsh read, but she was not wrong about exactly that. Amanda is the weak figure that West needs, which Dara, when she came out, she said it in a very calm, eloquent, really well-spoken piece, which is that this is the West show. It is and always will be the West show. And he wants people to think that he's a good guy. And then he treats the women who give themselves to him as expendable. And I believe that when Sierra said it, it hurt Amanda. And so she had that physical reaction. But when Dara said it, because it was more reasonably said, I guarantee that that is what led Amanda to, at the end of the day, say, they're making me feel stupid for trusting you. Because when people are giving us truth, but it's harsh, we get defensive or we brush it off.
It's easy to not listen and let it settle in.
Easy. Yeah. But when Dara said it, it was just literally like, it was out of care and concern. It was really well said, really appropriately said. And I guarantee that that is what led Amanda to wake up and be
and
like.
And she gave her an interesting thought, which was, I guess the question for you is like, how much of you are you going to sacrifice for him? And it was more of an empowering statement, I felt, that the future of Amanda's life is in her own hands. And now told you, I've told you how he is. You can take it or leave it, but really the choice is up to you. And I did think that was a beautiful way of putting it.
How she approached it as a therapist and as someone who has had to give people really tough feedback time and time again, that is the way to do it so that they will hear it and not make you the villain or the issue. She that was like therapist level communication and expression.
We don't see that on The Housewives.
Oh, no, no. And that's why I like Dara, because she, I know there's a lot of stuff going on with her and KJ, but she just said it so well. There was one thing she said, like, West is looking for someone who will mold and fold without excuse or complaint. And I was just like, girl, it was spot on with scary precision. And I do think that what will happen now is Amanda and West are just left to their own devices without the kink of the drama or the kink of the secrecy or the hiding. And I'm going to be honest, I only see two outcomes here. One is that they break up, and two is that they stay together but are just really unhappy. But that would be my guess because
Kyle
they both care. Well, right, because I think they both care more about how people perceive them than if they're actually happy.
They would stay just to make a point. Like, we have to stay together so that we don't look
stupid.
Like we,
Yeah, so that we didn't blow up our lives for nothing. And so that's my prediction, that I think that they will do that.
I think that's a great prediction. When Mia said, what makes you think that he won't do this to you? And Lindsay says, yeah, we want to know, like, what is happening? Like, she's trying to get all the answers. Amanda they obviously have a very good pact happening where she has agreed to not divulge any information, mostly because I think that West didn't commit to anything and doesn't want to say that because she's too embarrassed about that. But says we've had private conversations and I don't want to share all of that. But from those conversations, I can't remember what she said exactly, but she made it sound like I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have taken this risk had he not told me that he loves me, that I am the one, that he wants to be with me, and he's in it to win it. And so that's what she believes. And we know from like Mia, from the FaceTime, the other Mia, the horsehair tie gal, the one who was building his furniture in his apartment when he was at Summer House. And like, talk about a use and lose situation there. And he's telling her, I can't like say that you're my girlfriend because I'll get fired. This was very eye-opening. And I think we're going to hear more about that, right? Because there's more receipts that Mia gave to Kyle.
Well, that's what I think we're going to see in part 3.
Yeah.
And it was, oh my God, Amy, I swear it gave me chills. West and Amanda are talking about, West is like, well, I think the worst is over. And then you cut to Kyle and Sierra FaceTiming with Mia, his ex, and just getting all the information. And I was like, this is cinematic gold. Cinematic gold. And it also shows again that not only does he not have a finger on the pulse of reality, he just doesn't care and he just completely lacks awareness if you think that the worst of this is over. But listening to Mia say that essentially the timeline, because I think this is really important to talk about. So the timeline is essentially that Kyle and Amanda announced their separation on January 19th, 2026. And Amanda was pushing for the announcement to be posted immediately. And I clocked this. She said because she didn't want fans thinking they were still together. Impression management.
And going into the season knowing that they're together. Yep.
Right. So then the other important piece of this timeline is at the end when we find out that West and Mia Moreno is her last name, were in a committed relationship since February of 2025.
Yeah.
And when West went on Watch What Happens Live, Mia came that night. West was still telling her that he loved her. He was wearing her horsehair tie. This was on February 3rd of 2026. He broke up with her the next day to be with Amanda. That's the timeline of all of this.
Oh, I see. So a year later after they were together.
Yeah. He just literally, she met him on Watch What Happens Live. They spend the night together. He says, I love you. He wears the horsehair tie. And then the next day, he's never talks to her again or breaks up with her, never talks to her again, and then is with Amanda. That is literally the insanity of this situation.
Wow.
Yeah. It just doesn't take a genius to figure out that this stuff doesn't happen overnight, right? Amanda herself admitted that they were having conversations. So if you're having conversations, that's an emotional affair. Like that's intent. Those are conversations about, well, how do we do this? And it to me, it's just like it was planning and implementation. And it's not saying that you didn't do anything wrong. In fact, to me, it says the exact opposite. But one of the other really interesting things that Mia said was that he lied about, like you said, he couldn't be in a relationship with someone from the Bravo sphere. And again, my take on that is that he manipulated Mia Moreno into being his dirty little secret.
Yeah.
And he tried to tell her, well, there's a lot of eyes on you and blah, blah, blah. And so like it's just showing his massive level of manipulative, lacking of empathy, like
patterns, secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's using her for her artistic abilities, which is really a slap in the face.
Amanda or Mia?
Mia.
Sorry. Yeah.
Because she's obviously a designer, you know. I don't know what she was doing with the furniture in his apartment, but the horsehair tie and whatever it is that she does. I mean, it sounds like she's incredibly talented.
Oh,
and he's just using her for everything, including her skills, which is really irritating, you know?
Sure. But that's what someone like West does. I mean, West is like, you know, when these creatures sometimes will attach themselves to other creatures to like feed on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Away their energy and their soul.
Like, so what I'm trying to say is like, to me, West feels like a parasite. West feels like someone who attaches to somebody, sucks their blood, gets their life energy. And then when he's done and he's full, he detaches and then he moves on to somebody else. West
so what is
like
that called? So what is that called? Like, what is his, if we could kind of break down, and I know that you are not clinically diagnosing him in the real world. This is just your opinion. But what is it that West is, you know, having to struggle with in his life? What are the issues here? If you were to put it pen to paper, which I know you have 30 pages if you want to be specific. And then I'd like to know what specifically, even though I know we broke down a lot about like why, you know, why and what, but if you were to like put it in a box, check a box.
All right. So if I were to put it in a box, West, to me, is someone who is parasitic and predatory in his behaviors. Lindsay was right. He is one of the best manipulators that I've seen. And this is coming from someone who grew up with one of the best manipulators as a parent and also worked with it in practice for decades. He is good. And so what that tells me is that he is practiced. He doesn't have pesky empathy keeping in the way of what he's doing, because the fact is that someone couldn't do this to people over and over again if they had empathy. They just couldn't.
Wow.
And here's the thing. If he did have empathy, he would be sweating it at the reunion. Like, he would be having some sort of emotional reaction, which he just is not.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Like, if he's so good, why didn't he fight harder at the reunion to defend himself and to try to wiggle his way out of it?
He doesn't need to. And here's why. West will leave this and he will be just fine. He will be floating in vagina.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll be floating in a sea of vagina because women sometimes don't. It's like, you know, when serial killers go to prison and then women are like obsessed with them.
But if he cares so much about his image and what people think, why wouldn't he fight harder when people are watching?
I think he thinks he is doing that. So what I believe his tactic is, essentially what I'm saying is to offer hollow apologies that are very reasonable sounding, that are used proper tone of voice, proper content. But the behavior tells me he doesn't really feel sorry. He's not really accountable for anything. He's not really sorry. He's trying to appease everybody to get out of that reunion so he can just do the same shit over and over. That's what I think.
Okay. And would you say that he's a narcissist, allegedly?
So, well, again, I cannot say that, and I won't, say that. But what I will say is that narcissistic traits and tendencies exist on a continuum. And when it gets past a certain point, that's where it turns into pathology. And the pathology of narcissism says that all we are concerned with is our image, our self, our, whatever. So what I'm seeing, sure, there's narcissistic traits and tendencies. Where that lies, that would be between him and his practitioner, which I guarantee he doesn't see someone like West. The reason he's not going to get better is because he doesn't want to. And it would take, when people have a lot of narcissistic traits and tendencies, it takes an insane amount of healing to work through that. But the most important reason why people who have really narcissistic traits and tendencies don't heal is there has to be an awareness first and foremost. We can't change patterns that we aren't aware of. And that's a double-edged sword. People who have a lot of narcissism are incapable of looking inward and acknowledging the reality of things in a way that they want to fix. If that makes sense.
Okay. It does make sense. It totally makes sense. Kyle with other women. I mean, the tippy toes comment was hilarious. And then also Southern Charm, Sally, that he was with Sally from Southern Charm. That was wild.
What do you think about Sally, Amy?
I don't know. I don't have the bandwidth to put her into my brain right now. Because I'm so focused on
Fair enough.
She wants it. She wants it bad, and she wants the fame, and she wants it all. So she's willing to do whatever it takes to keep herself
relevant, which is
on the show and
so
relevant. She'll go with anybody, So
I mean,
that's
literally.
my opinion.
Yeah.
What is yours?
The same. That to me, when I heard Sally's name, I'm like,
of course.
Here's my point. Here's my point, though. West will always have Sallys. He will always have Sallys who will not give a shit how he treats women or how he treats people. They're so desperate for either relevance or to see what all the fuss is about, which to me, if it's a sociological experiment to be like, is this guy's dick made of gold? Like, what is happening here? That I would understand. But I
Mhm.
don't think that's the case with Sally. I think
Did you
she's
did you see what Lala Kent said about Kyle, that she heard a rumor that
what's up?
Kyle, like, really knows how to work it in bed? Did you
I
she did
did.
something for her podcast? It was so funny.
Yeah. Which,
And I
like,
thought
but
Kyle is really having a great year. His business is up. Now he's being, you know, lifted up by Lala, the sex queen herself, that she heard that he can really, that he's got some good moves in bed. And so
which here's the thing.
kudos to him.
Was it shocking to you? Because it was not shocking to me when Kyle talked about not having their needs met, like meaning they
Oh,
were in a
yeah.
marriage that was lacking sex.
Right.
And when Andy asked for how long, Kyle said forever, which is wild. And Amanda said 4 years.
Yeah.
So what I got from that is that these two people have not had sex in 4
Yeah.
years,
Well,
which
I was
is like,
actually relieved because I thought it was 7 a couple weeks ago.
I
So
know,
I was
but
like,
I'm like,
okay, well, that's a little better. But no, this is why I don't understand why they even stayed together. And I think Kyle's point being like, yeah, I probably was inappropriate because I wasn't. So he's justifying why he's doing that. But I'm like, then why didn't you just get divorced, both of you? Like, I don't
right.
understand this.
Right. And that's where Kyle, it's like, okay, we can feel sad for Kyle and all of that, but he made his bed. Amanda
Yeah,
made her bed. They were
right.
both in a very unhappy marriage. They were both playing a role. But it's like that meme of where, like, the Spider-Man pointing at each other.
Mhm.
It's like they're like that, right? Like Kyle's pointing at
Right.
her and she's pointing at him, and it's like it's both of you, okay? It's
Yeah.
it's both of you here.
Mhm.
And I think that did annoy me where, like, Kyle was trying to take accountability, but then I think he got defensive and feelings hurt. And then he was just he was just doing the same thing that Amanda was doing, which it's like, that's why he and Amanda worked for so long, I guess, right? I mean,
Mhm. I know we need to probably wrap it up, but I do want to mention Ben and his
yes,
dad, because that was
yes.
really intense. And it makes so much more sense why he is so terrible to, in my opinion, women so
Mhm.
far, and why he was really so controlling and demeaning to Bailey and then Amanda. So he's got a lot of issues there and a lot of shame. And it's so sad. I can't imagine going through what he went through with what his dad did. It's
And
just traumatic.
let's explain for people who don't know. So
Yeah.
what you're talking about is that Ben grew up in a very religious household, that it sounds like his worth and his value was based on, like he was just acting like a kid, but his dad really took away his love from Ben. And Ben revealed that his father didn't hug him since he was 19 years old,
Mm.
simply because I think he was concerned that he was having premarital sex,
Mhm.
which it's like, that's abusive, right? As a parent, when you're using religion to emotionally neglect and abandon your child, like that's abuse. That's
Yeah.
abuse using religion as like a reason, but it's just absolute bullshit. And so what Ben talked about is that Sabrina every morning was like hugging his dad and then encouraging Ben to come in closer and closer. Essentially, that Sabrina had to act as a go-between to get Ben's dad to even physically touch him,
Mhm.
which puts such perspective to what you're saying, because my God, that is devastating.
Yeah. It was
So,
nice to hear. And that the dad allowed them to stay in the same room together, which is pretty shocking, and that they have a relationship on some level. So I am interested to hear more about that, interested to learn.
well,
I'm
I don't
always
know if we will, because
You don't think so?
no, because I think that this whole drama is taking up so much that I think that was Ben's time. And remember when Bailey came out for, and then I don't even think
You
she
mean
said
Levi?
anything.
No, Levi.
Oh shoot, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Yep.
No, it's
Well,
okay.
and
No,
that
she
goes
said
to show
nothing.
that Levi has been like missing in action because Levi came out for her part of it and then did not say a word.
Well,
And
yeah,
then
because
Andy was like,
Amanda had her
"Thanks,
walk
Levi."
off. Yeah, Amanda had her walk off, and then they were like, "Well, let's take a break. Thanks, Levi."
I was just like, Levi
Oh,
and
poor
Ben
Levi.
and all these people are just getting the shaft. But it's another example of how West and Amanda don't care about how their behaviors are impacting people, right? This was,
Yeah.
imagine being on Summer House and this is like your season and you're a blip in it because of all this other nonsense. It's impacting people is what I'm saying.
I don't really care much about that, but
I mean, fair
I
enough.
mean,
Fair enough.
yeah, I mean, look, if there was something interesting that Levi had to say, she had time to do it, and it just was nothing there. But look, she
Too
was
short.
in there. She's just a background player this season, and what ends up happening is maybe next season or the season after that, if she's back, then we'll start cooking. But there's no room for anyone else, and I don't want to hear from anyone else unless it's something that is so poignant, like KJ's story and
Right.
like Ben's story. We had time for that. I'm glad that they gave it a little time. And Bailey reading Ben, I thought that was great. So I think
So
we
good.
got enough out of everybody.
I think so. And so where we're leaving off is that now part 3, it sounds like is gonna just be Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Because Amanda and West are gonna come out having no idea that they've been talking with Mia, his ex, and I have a feeling stuff is gonna go down. I have anxiety about it. Like, this
Jeez.
is
I know
giving
while you're
me
talking, I'm like,
anxiety.
oh my God.
I know, I'm just like, "Oh my god," because it's like, that's what happens when you have a lot of empathy.
Mhm.
You care
Yeah.
about situations that aren't yours to care about.
Yeah. We care more than
So,
Wes does. That's for sure.
yeah, I wish I could give him some of my empathy and then we could even out as people. But listen, that's,
Right.
empathy
That would be
transplants
nice.
aren't a thing. So,
Empathy transplants.
so Amy, as we're wrapping up, was there anything else about the reunion that stuck out to you that you wanted to mention that we haven't gotten to?
Oh God, I feel good about what we covered today. The comedic relief, just about like who's going to go check on Amanda now, and like Kyle popping up and popping down, and
And being like, thank God.
yeah, I know, and he was going to go do it. Oh my gosh, that did make me laugh. And then with Jesse, which this is a piece that I never saw, the unseen footage when he said, after I date a girl or go on a date with a girl, I write her a song and send it to her. And he said, is that cringe? And then Amanda was like, yeah. And I just thought that was so funny, but so sweet. And the fact that he is now going on tour and he's really
Yeah.
seems to be doing well. And Carl getting wonderful accolades from Lindsay on the heels of him giving her accolades that he's the man that she believes that he's always wanted to be. That's pretty amazing.
I know. It all had me in my feels, and I'm glad you brought up that part about Jesse, because again, I feel like he's getting overshadowed. But when they showed the video of him playing and singing, I'm like, oh, he's great.
Yeah, he
Like,
is. Yeah.
what bums me out and what I do want to mention is that when Jesse was getting emotional, talking about his dreams coming true, like he went to school for music,
Mhm,
right? He's
mhm.
always wanted to do this. And you can see that it's such a serious thing to him. And people on the internet, you know how they love to just be trolls and shit on people, which it's like, please, can you play the
Yeah.
piano? Because I know I can't. So,
Mhm.
but I think Jesse, I can tell he's like in this emotional turmoil because it's like his life is about to change, but he's so sad about what's going on. And then I think he feels judged. But I loved how the guys came together to support one another, like aside from West, because he doesn't
Yeah.
count. He's like a plant in the corner. But when Carl was giving Jesse his flowers and Lindsay and Carl were giving each other their flowers, I thought, this is why we're all upset. Because these people really have love for each other. They really have admiration and
Mhm. And so much
respect
fun, and
and
summer
fun.
should
And
be
so
fun. And now what's gonna happen? Like, we loved watching all these knuckleheads hang out and just do goofy things. What do you think is gonna happen with the next Summer House?
okay, so I've thought a lot about this and I've seen a lot of the rumors, and I just don't trust it, an internet rumor. I think that truly it could go a million different ways. but I would be absolutely shocked if West came back. Now, I could almost see Amanda coming back because I feel what Kyle's feeling and some of the rest of this group is feeling is that because of West's predatory, parasitic behaviors, that they view Amanda a little bit as a victim, right? They're like, I know this person. I
Right.
feel like she's a little bit of a victim. So I feel like there's room for her to grow if she wants to. But is she going to hitch her wagon to West and just like go to the pits of hell? Or is she going to try to get some agency and autonomy over her life? TBD. TBD. But I believe that I think Sierra will come back if West does not come back. I don't know that West has a place anymore in this house because he has no friends there.
Right.
So it will be interesting to see. I hope there's not like production or editorial decisions made that feel inauthentic, but I understand wanting to capture the lightning in a bottle of what's happening. So I'll just be really interested to see. But what do you think?
Well, now that there's In the City, I could see Amanda and Kyle going back to In the City and actually coexisting together there. Sierra back on Summer House, all the guys back on Summer House. West, I don't see how he could go back on Summer House, but Bravo knows that he would be a ratings boost. I mean, you know,
well, didn't his show, The Ozarks, didn't that get scrapped?
I don't know. See, I can't get a handle on it.
I read that the project, The Ozarks, which was going to be like based on, you know, West and
like he was going to be the bridge to Missouri.
Yes.
So it was going to be the bridge to that.
Yes. And I think because of what's going on with West now, they've scrapped that. That's what I've read. Now, listen, that could be completely
no, I heard
not
that
true,
too.
But I think
they've got to do something for him. They have to. I just think that West is such a liquid commodity for Bravo and reality television that they have to put him somewhere. And maybe what they could do is Summer House, where it's Sierra for like most of the weekends. And then you know how they don't have some cast members at the house on some of the weekends? So then Sierra's not there on the weekends that West comes. And I would see West coming maybe 2 weekends tops, but you get a couple episodes out, you know, several episodes out of that. So that is what I think my top guess is, that they'll split Summer House so that West can make up with the guys and make it right. We get check-ins, and then perhaps on In the City next year, West gets some cameos over on In the City as well.
Well, right, and that's the interesting point you bring up about In the City, which I didn't even think about, because if Amanda and West are going to be together, then that is likely that maybe that's the storyline for In the City, and then Summer House is everyone else. So I mean, TBD, like I'm just brimming with anticipation to find out what this is going to look like.
Yeah, but they're going to do something with him. They have to, because people want to see that, right? They want to see him. They want to see the villain. They want to see the villains. They do.
Right. But you made a really interesting point that I could see West, we could see West on House of Villains or something like that. Like I bet he's going to try to like Tony Stark this and make this like his, he'll be like, oh, you want a villain? I'll give you a villain. You know, maybe that's a shtick. I don't know. We're going to have to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. I don't know if, maybe he'll be like a Sandoval with House of Villains. It would be interesting if they would pick him up for Traitors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he would be great at that game.
He'd be great at a Traitor.
West would excel at Traitors, honey. And let me tell you, if West was on Traitors, your girl would be watching. So
there you go. Wow. I love talking to you about this stuff. I couldn't wait to talk to you about Summer House, and can't wait, for next week.
I know. And Amy, I'm just so glad that we're here to kind of break this all down. And when I knew that we were going to cover part 2 of Summer House, I was just so excited. And quite frankly, I can't wait for our next Darling Bish Hour to see what the heck happens and what we can talk about then. I mean, as always, I adore you. I adore talking to you. And people love Darling Bish Hour. They really do.
Love
like M&M Hour.
People do.
They love Darling Bish Hour.
Yes,
so
they do.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for listening. You know where to find us. Drama Darling Your Bish Therapist. We also have Patreon and we've got our Instagram. So you know all the information. And thank you for just supporting our just little love fest here.
Yes, because it is a love fest, and I'm glad when other people love our love fest. So, yes,
Yeah.
please check us out at Meet Amy Phillips, at Your Bish Therapist. Check us out on Patreon. Check out the free podcast. And I can't wait to see what our next hour entails. So, for
Me
now,
too.
we'll send love to you and yours, and ta-ta for now.
Toodle-doo.
Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.